Yeah, so thanks for coming out. Recapping the New Mexico State game. Start with our players of the game. Offensive lineman, Trey Zune and Armaje Reed-Adams. Defensive lineman was Nick Skirton. Those three guys I thought played pretty well the other night. Offensive player of the game was Theo Mellon Orstrom. 5 catches, 111 yards, certainly his best game of the year. And it was great to see the tight ends get involved the way they did. That's certainly something that we've been trying to get going. And so it was good to get that going for us. Defensive player of the game was Malik Silla. 5 tackles, 3 TFLs, 2 sacks. He had himself a heck of a night, predominantly in the second half. And so that was great to see. And then special teams player of the game was Bryce Anderson. And I thought he made some really nice plays out there as a gunner, pinning the punt down, made a really nice tackle at the end of the game. And so I was happy for that. Injury update, unfortunately, Cyrus Allen is going to be out for the season. He'll have surgery on his arm, and hopefully we'll get him back sooner rather than later. But we won't have him the rest of the year. And so now it's kind of turning our attention ahead to a really talented Auburn team. Another SEC game at night. Obviously a game with a lot on the line, and so we're excited for this opportunity, excited to get out there and put our best foot forward. And so from there, we'll open it up to questions.
Down front, Brett.
Mike, y'all are still right there in the mix, but what do you do? What do you tell the guys about cleaning up penalties, especially down the stretch, since that's been an issue for y'all?
Yeah, again, I'm running out of ways to tell them. It's unfortunate. It's ultimately on me because it's my team and my job is to get them to understand the magnitude of it. I think my frustration became a little bit evident Saturday night with it. It's repeat offenders. It's same things. We could just sit here and talk about it, but at the end of the day, my job is to get it done, and I got to find a creative way to get it done because it's not working.
There's already so much talk about November 30th. It was announced as a night game today. How do you deal with that with your guys and saying, hey, we still have something ahead of us at Auburn, or is that even a big issue with your team?
I don't think it's an issue. I think when you're in the situation we're in, it's easy to focus on the task at hand. I think, those big games earlier in the year, maybe you look ahead. If we didn't have at stake what's at stake, maybe you would worry about it. I think our focus is single-handedly on on Auburn right now and locked in on what we got to get done.
Front left, Cease.
Mike, Hugh Freeze, any kind of interaction with him? He's been on the opposite side of the ball kind of, during your career. What about any recollection with him whatsoever?
None. We've missed each other. When I got here, he had just left Ole Miss. We never crossed paths at Liberty when I was at Duke. So this is my first time. I think Coach Bateman's gone against him when he was at North Carolina, and Coach was at Liberty. And never Durkin either. For obviously him coming in here, and I know DJ, and DJ's a great coach, and he does a phenomenal job. But it's the first time going against him as well.
You've talked before about being down in the sidelines different, being up in the press box area doing the games. So I wondered, 2 times to Auburn, you split games over there as A&M's DC. What did you take from those 2 games, the atmosphere and the environment? You've talked before about, all teams, different places. What do you think?
Yeah, the one year, if I'm not mistaken, the one year was the COVID year that we went over there, and then the other year was the year we were up and played really well for 3.5 quarters, and then got away from us down the stretch, if I'm not mistaken. And so, we played early games over there too. So I don't know that the atmosphere was great. There's a lot of pageantry at Auburn. It's a great place to play. It's one of the iconic stadiums in this conference. Jordan Hare. There's been a lot of big-time football games played in that conference, but we played if I remember right, I think both of them were a noon kick, and so I don't know, or 11 a.m. Central kick, and so I don't know that that's going to be quite what we're walking into Saturday night as the first place team in the SEC and ESPN 6:30 kickoff. So
Down front, Travis.
Hey, Mike, what's gone into the success in the red zone? Because it's other than turnover in the McNeese and or turnover on downs late and the interception, it's been perfect.
Yeah, you guys are beautiful. Every week. Sorry, I'm not trying to chastise anyone. I think we spend a lot of time on it. I think the importance of what we do down there is critical. I think we look at it more. Obviously, Randy's been really good, and so that makes you, when you think about red zone, rankings, like the field goal plays a lot in it. What I'm really happy about is we're scoring touchdowns at about a 75% clip, and that will win you a lot of football games. And so if you look at us on offense, we're middle of the road yards, but upper echelon points, right? And that's because of the red zone success that we're having. The running factor of Marcel plays a role. I think that added element, certainly in the games that he's played, helps. Having some big, tall receivers down there helps. Winning at the line of scrimmage has been something we've been able to do a good job of. And then I just think it's such a huge emphasis in our program to be successful down there.
You mentioned y'all work on it a lot. Is there, if you special designated time of practice that's just red zone? What does that kind of look like at a?
Yeah, so it starts today. Like, I think we're probably one of the few teams in the country that goes into the red zone on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And so there's a different element that we work down there every day of the week. Today we spent a lot of time on 3rd and goal from different areas, both sides of the ball. Tomorrow's more normal down stuff. Wednesday becomes kind of a combination of both, and then Thursday we clean it up. And so, it's getting down there. It's kind of making a priority for what we do.
And then with the Texas game, that'll be 5 straight night games. Have you done 5 straight night games in your career? And what is that atmosphere? What does that do for a team?
We did a lot last year at Duke. I don't know if it was ever 5 in a row. I know because of movies. Like, we went through a whole lot of movies last year, because when you play a night game, you watch a movie the night before, and when you play in the day, you don't. And we were kind of running out of movies to watch last year, so I know we played a lot of them. But the atmosphere's electric, and us having to go on the road to Auburn at night is going to be it's going to be an electric environment. It's going to be 2 teams fired up to play football. I'm sure it's their senior day. I'm assuming their game's at Alabama, right? They were at home last year, so I'm sure it's their last game and it's their senior day, and so I'm sure they're going to want to send their seniors out the right way.
3rd row on the left, Tony.
Coach, obviously Auburn's defense is 18th in scoring defense and 35th on 3rd down. Can you just touch on some of the successes they've had and what challenges they present to you guys this week?
Yeah, a lot of challenges. I think DJ's doing a really good job kind of getting his scheme implemented in year 1. They're very multiple. They attack you a lot of different ways, a lot of different fronts, a lot of different coverage looks. They blitz from a lot of different angles, and so they do a really good job of pressuring the quarterback and making it uncomfortable, and then they're doing all that with a really talented group. They got a really talented front. They're good at the second level. Dorian Mouse, he's a kid I'm extremely familiar with. He started for us 2 years at Duke, and he's leading them in tacklers, and that's no surprise. He's a great player, and then they're talented in the secondary, and so they got good players, a good scheme, and they're playing really well together.
3rd row on the right, David.
Mike, a little bit more on Auburn. They're a desperate team. They're trying to get bowl eligible. Just the challenges of taking on a team that sees no wiggle room with what's ahead.
Yeah, I think that's certainly a part of it on their end, and I think the other part of it is just, and this is what we talk about, and this is probably a lesson learned from the South Carolina game, is we're at a different spot too, and we have to understand that people are going to play really well against us right now. We're first place in the SEC, we're top 15 in the country, we're in the playoff hunt. Like, that creates something when you go into another team's stadium that we haven't dealt with in a while. And so kind of understanding what all that means and what all that entails, I think is as important as paying attention to them and what they're playing for. That's been us over the last few years, right? There's been times where we've popped up on teams and played really well against ranked teams here in Kyle Field. It's just what people do when big high-ranked teams that are high in the standings show up for night games. And so we just got to understand what all that's about, I think.
And to follow that up, just to be in this position when you took the job, I know you thought this was all possible, but just reflecting on the work that's still ahead, but to be in this spot.
Yeah, I think. Sorry. Oh, my God. Sorry about that.
Timeout.
Hang on a second.
We don't have the cough button here.
No, sorry. I think these are the goals of this program, and this is where we want to be. There's always 2 hats. We always talk about that, right? So from the coaching perspective, like, of course, this is where I wanted this to go. Like, you work so hard to get it there as fast as you possibly can, and every game you win is awesome, and every game that you lose is miserable, and that's just the coaching profession and how we want to go about it. From the CEO perspective, I think it's important that we don't lose sight of like where we've come from, what we've accomplished, the fact that this is the first time in our SEC history that we're in this position down the stretch, controlling our own destiny to Atlanta. So from that perspective, I think there has to be some understanding of the direction we're going and that it's a good direction for year one and where we're at.
Coach will go back behind the lights, far left. Donna?
Coach, especially after Saturday's win, so many players talked about the brotherhood, the love they have for each other. And I know you've talked about culture time and time again, but I'm just curious, you know, after bringing as many transfers in as you did year one for you, I mean, how do you feel like, are you surprised at all at how well this team has come together?
Pleased, I guess, would be the right word. You know, I think it would be naive to assume it. And we've talked a lot about, like, when you get these types of seasons, when you get this type of camaraderie, when things are going the way they're going, like, enjoy it, appreciate it, soak it all in, and take advantage of it, because it's not every year. And certainly in this day and age of mass roster turnover year in and year out, you know, you never know when you're going to get it wrong. And fortunately this year we got it right. I think the kids that we kept in the program were committed to doing it. They wanted things to be different. They wanted the change. They wanted it to be a different kind of way. I think we were tried to be really intentional about who we brought into the program, and that worked out the right way. And so I think we brought in a lot of really high character kids, and I think we were very intentional about how we put it all together, and they took it and ran with it, right? And that's ultimately what has to happen. You know, there's only so much we can do to create opportunities to bring everyone together. At the end of the day, if kids don't want to, they won't, right? And that's just the nature of it. And so I think it's just more, I appreciate it. I appreciate what they've done. I appreciate going into that room every day. It's a great room. It's a great group of kids to be around. And then for them, it's just to take advantage of it and the opportunity that we have.
Staying behind the lights, Tyler?
Yeah, Mike, Auburn's rushing attack, they've got a running back, 1,000-yard rusher. What kind of challenges that offense present? And do you look back at and show your guys what happened at South Carolina and to kind of prep them for, what's ahead this week?
No, I mean, I don't think showing them South Carolina helps us get ready for Auburn much, but I think this is a really talented running group. Obviously, the tailback Hunter is a really talented player. He's the leading rusher in the league. He's powerful. He's explosive. He runs through people. I think they do a lot of different schemes to create leverage and create angles in the run game. A lot of it is checked at the line of scrimmage, and so they do a really good job of getting themselves into the right play. I think how we control the line of scrimmage, set edges, and kind of keep the ball contained in the box, I think is going to be really, really important for us and our success. And so, like a lot of these SEC games, it's going to be both ways. They stop the run really well. We run the ball well. They run the ball well. We've had success in the games that we've been successful stopping the run. And so I'm sure that'll play a huge role in it Saturday.
Staying back behind the lights on the far right, Ben?
Coach, just curious how this experience stacks up to, in 2020 in a playoff hunt, but, now kind of a guarantee if you take care of your business versus, no guarantees in that season. If maybe the players, if you notice the players processing it differently, I know this process is probably the same for you guys as coaches, but any sort of adjustments you guys had to make in this situation?
No, I don't know that there's a big difference other than what you said, which is the control. I think, 2020, we were playing really good football. We were winning a lot of football games. We were playing really well together. But I think, at the end of the day, we needed help, and we needed somebody else to help us. And unfortunately, we didn't get the help, and we just missed out. This year, if we handle our business the way we can and the way we're supposed to, we don't need help. We don't need help from anybody. And so I think that just creates a little bit of a different element. But I don't know that you feel that from the kids. I think the kids are just excited to be playing for something meaningful down the stretch.
And then I know this last game you guys honored the 25th anniversary of the Bonfire tragedy today, obviously. Just what, I guess, curious if you guys had a chance to kind of discuss that as a team and just kind of the lessons of it, especially for those who weren't familiar with it and what you wanted them to take away from it.
Yeah, I think more just the memory of it. I think when you talk about Aggie tradition, I think it's important to be aware of who we are and things that have happened here. And obviously that was a very tragic moment for us, our university, and our culture. And so I think you want them to be aware of it. I don't know that there's a ton of lessons to be taught on our end from it, but just the remorse of people who lost their lives on a tragic day supporting Texas A&M football, and maybe just a little bit bigger of understanding of what we're really part of here at Texas A&M.
Second row on the right, Carter.
Mike, without Cyrus on Saturday, we saw a lot of Jacob Bostick and some Moose Muhammad as well. Just those two guys in particular, what have you seen from them, and how do you think those guys and maybe others could fill that void?
Yeah, I think, obviously we rolled a lot of different guys in there, and those two were part of it. I think both of them, Jacob's different. Jacob's a younger kid who I still think is growing and getting better every single week. We've talked a lot about Moose and still just trying to find that consistency of performance from him. But obviously somebody's going to have to step up as we go down the stretch, and Moose is certainly a kid who's capable of doing that for us.
What can this offense maybe look like when the tight ends are as involved as they were on Saturday? And do you think Saturday may have been a sign of things to come from that group?
Yeah, I think, again, like, part of the pass game is how they're leveraging coverage and where the openings are. And so, we hit some balls to the tight ends early in the year, kind of put them on the radar. It's been a little bit quiet for a little period of time. Maybe opens up, and then you get a team that doesn't pay as much attention to them because they haven't been quite as successful in recent windows, and then all of a sudden, they go off. And so, we'll see how Auburn chooses to play us, how they kind of pay attention to those guys. They're always a part of what we're doing. They're always a part of the pass game. They're always, in the progression. It was good to see them create some separation, get open, make some tight catches and some tight windows. That was obviously a big positive, and so hopefully that continues for us.
Third row on the left, Luke.
Coach, I know you touched on the Auburn run game. What have you seen from their two wide receivers, Cam Coleman, Keandre Lambert-Smith, and maybe how the wide receiver duos you all have previously faced this season, how does that kind of prepare you for what you expect on Saturday?
Yeah, I think they're really talented. I think, Keandre Lambert-Smith obviously is played a lot of college football, been very successful, highly productive player, really good feel for route running, really good feel for creating separation and making contested catches. Cam Coleman obviously is an extremely talented young player, flashes unbelievable ball skills and top-end athleticism to get down the field and make explosive plays. And and they've got other guys too, and it's not just those two. They got another freshman wide receiver who plays in the slot who's extremely talented as well, number 11. And so it's a talented group. They got really talented players, and so.
Alex, you'll wrap us up. Second row on the left.
Yeah, along those lines, Payton Thorne had 5 touchdown passes last week. He's kind of had an up and down season, it looks like. Just when you watch the tape from last weekend, just what'd you notice from him maybe different in the passing game?
Yeah, I mean, I think he has the talent, and he has the arm talent to make explosive plays. And so I think last week he looked like he was maybe coming off a bye, maybe a little fresher, a little healthier, really confident with where he wanted to go with the football, stepped into throws and delivered the ball really well. And I think you've seen that at times. They've been very productive on offense all year. I think they're 6th in the league in yards per game, or 5th in the league in yards per game. And so they've been moving the football very well. They had some turnover issues at critical moments in some of their early games, and I think that just shot them in the foot. But when you put the tape on and you're looking at play in, play out, it's another really talented SEC football team, and it'll be a big challenge for us.
And I just wanted to ask you about the movies. Who chooses the movies? What kind of movies do you guys like to watch when you're on the road in those kind of environments? And you got a favorite one you guys have watched this year?
Yeah, so it's all leadership. The leadership crew goes and picks them. I got one, like what I call my generation movies, and so we got The Town watched this year, and so that's always a good hit. We've kind of when you get into so many in a row, there's just not enough new releases out there to watch, and so we've watched a variety of them with the guys.
Thanks for your time, Coach.
Yeah, thanks.